when I was like, when I finishing up with this windmill, I didn't stop going to the library. I always go there. One day, when I went to the library, the librarian asked me, why do you always check out the same book? So I explained to her that the book has helped me to build a windmill which is generating electricity in my village. And she was very interested to come to see it for herself. And also, like for other many people from the area, they were able to see the windmill from far, and they would try like to come to see it, and they would ask me, what is this all about? So I will explain to them that this windmill, it is generating electricity. Some of them, they had like some cell phone, and they would be like, can you charge your cell phone with your windmill? I'll be like, yeah, it can charge your cell phone. And then they will say like, let's try if it can charge my phone. So I'll plug in a phone. It will be like showing that it is charging. I say like, your phone is charging. Now you believe that it can charge your phone. Can you take your phone now? They'll be like, no. We won't believe you. We'll believe you when our phone will be fully charged. So I guess they just wanted to get their phone charged. So when the librarian came to see my windmill, when she went back, a few weeks later, the people who donate the books in the library, they were visiting all the libraries in the area. And the librarian told them that I was able to build the windmill just looking at the pictures from one of the books that they donated. And for them, they were also very interested to come and see it for themselves in my village. They came, they saw the windmill, and they went back. A few weeks later, they came back again. The second time when they came, they brought some journalists. One of the journalists wrote an article about my windmill. And that article was picked up by one of my friends. He's my friend now, but back then I didn't know him. So he took that article, he showed to his boss, and his boss put that article in his blog. And somebody here who was part of like organizing the TED conference, he was very like interested to invite me to attend the conference which was held in Arusha, Tanzania. But for him to find me, it was so hard. He had to contact the journalist who wrote the article, and the journalist who wrote the article contacted the people, brought them to my village. The people brought them to my village, contacted the librarian, and the librarian contacted my cousin, and my cousin contacted the other cousin. And finally, the other cousin told me. That time I didn't have any form of like communication, so it was real hard like to get to me. So that cousin told me that I was invited like to go to the conference in Arusha, Tanzania. When I heard the story, I was so excited and also worried at the same time, because I've never been away from my village before. And they told me that I'll be flying to the conference. I've never like seen an airplane, and I was so worried like how the experience would be like, and where am I gonna stay? I had no idea because I've never stayed like in a hotel before, and also like what am I gonna dress up to this conference? All those kind of stuff. I was real worried. But like enough, some of like the people like in my village, they came to me, they say like, son, we heard that you are going up to this conference. Make sure that the night before your flight, make sure that you don't eat. I was like, why shouldn't I eat? They say that if you eat, you're gonna vomit in the plane. That night, I didn't eat. But I was so surprised when we were inside the plane, when we were flying, they were giving us food. I almost like refused. I was like, you guys, you want to embarrass me. The people in my village have already told me that I'm going to vomit. Anyway, I guess people were just talking. They really didn't know how experience is really like in the plane. So when I got like to the conference, I spoke very briefly. And a lot of people came up to me. They asked me, how can we help you? I said that I want to continue up with my education, but also like building more windmills, especially a windmill that could pump water for irrigation. Because my original idea, when I was building this, my first windmill, my original idea was to build the windmill which could pump water for irrigation. But I ended up building the windmill which was generating electricity. Because at that time, I couldn't find the materials that I needed for the water pump. But I had like some knowledge of how you're going to be able to generate electricity. That's why I ended up building the windmill, which was like generating electricity. So the reason why I was able to learn to know how you're going to be able to generate electricity is that when I was much younger, when I was around like 6 to 7 years old, I thought that inside the radio, there are like small, tiny people who speaks. One day, when my parents went away, I took their radio, I opened it. I wanted to say hi to the people who speaks or sings. But I was very surprised to see very tiny things that looks like beans. I was like, are these people? Being a kid, there was only one way to tell. I was like, I'm just going to pinch one of it real hard. If they're going to feel some pain, they will scream like, say that, leave us alone. But that didn't happen. So from there, as time goes by, I started like, while they opening up the radio, like while the radio is still like functioning, started like removing one component after another and listening to what is happening. Sometimes when I remove a component, I'll see that the quality of the sound will drop. Or when I remove another component, the volume will drop. So I'll know that this component is to do with the quality of sound, and this component is to do with the volume. Or when I remove another component, then the radio, it won't find any channel. So I'll know that this one is to do with like tuning and for function of the radio. So from there, I started like learning how to fix radios. But most of the time when I was doing that, fixing radios, I was using batteries. So I'll go around looking batteries that people have used them and they have thrown them away. So if I'm fixing a radio that uses two batteries, I'll be collecting at least like 6 to 8 batteries, putting them together so that each remaining juice in each cell can add up enough to be equivalent to two batteries, like the same power that the 2 batteries can generate. So because of that, I was able like to learn how to generate electricity. So that's when I started like making the windmill. When I couldn't find the material to build a water pump, I shifted from building the windmill to pump water to build the windmill, which was like generating electricity. So when I was able like to get like materials, I was able to build this windmill, which was pumping water and also generating electricity at the same time. The water that this windmill was pumping, we're using it for my mom's vegetable garden. Some of the vegetables she was selling at the market, some of it we're eating it. So that's one thing that people were able like to help me out when I was at the conference. The other thing that people were able like to help me was to install solar water pump. And we put up these water tanks. It's the only clean drinking water in the area. The other nearest place there we can find like pipe water. It's like almost like 30 miles away. So women are allowed to come and get water for free at any time. Now they are reduced. The time that they were spending on collecting, going like to place to fetch water has been like reduced. They're going to be able to use that time to do so many other things. And some people are also using the same water to do like to have like a small garden that they can plant some food that they are using for their families. And so many other things when I went to the TED conference that happened for me, like so many new things. And one other thing that we did with my friends, they were able like to help me out to open up email address to start like using computer, and also they were able like to help me to start organization called the Moving Windmills Project. The reason, the main aim for the organization is try to help out like on helping out in the rural economic in rural areas in Malawi, and also help out on education. That's one of the projects that we have been like doing. So one other thing that we did with that organization, with the help from people, we were able like to rebuild the primary school that I went to. The school was built almost 60 years ago with the capacity of 400 students. By the time that I was going there, we were 2,000 students. Right now, there are 1,400 students. So the classes are not enough, and even some classes that they are there, they are not in a good condition. So we are trying to rebuild it so that students, they can be able to study in good learning environment. So far, we have built 4 classroom blocks. Each block has 2 classrooms. So we have new 8 classrooms, and we installed we put up like some desks so that students, they can learn in a good learning environment. And we are also able to install solar panels, and they're going to be able to use it later on at night to come and study. A lot of people don't have electricity at home, so their kids, they come to the school to study and read later on at night. The other thing that I did that people were able to help me out after the conference was also to send me back to school. So I went to South Africa for 2 years, where my class was the first class to graduate. You have students pretty much from all over Africa. They are trying to promote future leaders of Africa at that school. So I was there at African Leadership Academy for 2 years. After I finished with that school. That's when I went to Dartmouth. I was at Dartmouth for 4 years. So every time when I started at Dartmouth, every summer, I was making sure to go back to Malawi to work in different projects. One of the projects that I did was to install solar panels at this high school, the school that kicked me out when my parents couldn't afford. So the reason why we installed these solar panels is because the school doesn't have enough resources. They don't have enough teachers. I was hoping that if by building this, installing these solar panels, having a power at the school, we're going to be able to install computers and projectors. We are hoping to record classes from other schools that they have all facilities. They have all materials for experiment, being recording class from there. And upperclassmen students, they're going to be acting as supervisors, helping the other students while they are projecting classes that has been recorded from the other schools. So far, we're able to install these computers and created a local network using this machine called e-greenery. And the student, it's kind of like local network. The student, they can be able to access it anytime. It's it's for free. They can be able to get all academic materials that they want. And other thing that I have been doing is also the teaching people how to maintain and fix water pumps. Because most of the time, in many areas, they have these pumps, but they don't know how to maintain it and they don't know how to fix it once it's broken. So that's become really like challenging. Most of the time they wait for people from the town or the government to come and fix it, or some NGOs, which takes a lot of time. So I thought that if I know how to do it, if I can teach these people how to maintain it and fix it, then they'll be able to do it, to fix for themselves, then they don't have to wait. That can be able to reduce these waterborne diseases. Especially during rain season, there's lots of cholera outbreak in many parts of the country. So by doing so, I thought that it would be able to help out. Another project is the biogas project. This project has a long history for me. When I made my first windmill, a lot of people, they were asking me, can you use your windmill for cooking? Can you use the power from the windmill to cook? I was like, no, it doesn't generate enough power. So some people told me that you're going to be able to generate gas for cooking if you have like a cow manure. You just put them in a container and you put up some water. You wait for it for heat to generate up, and then you'll be able to generate gas. I was like, that sounds simple enough. I was like, I'm going to build that. Because I wanted Liv to help out with my mom to find the ways that she can be able to find some energy for cooking. Because most of the time, like in Malawi, women and girls spend between 8 to 9 hours just looking for firewood. And deforestation is one of very big problem. So I thought that if I can be able to generate this gas, then I'll be able to solve this problem. So when I heard that you can do that, you can generate a biogas by using cow manure, I was like, I'm gonna do it. If what is needed is just a heat. So what I did, one day, my mom went away. I wasn't quite sure where she went. I took one of her best cooking pot, and I took goat poop. I put up the goat poop in the cooking pot, and I put up some water, and I covered the cooking pot, and I started boiling the goat poop on the fire. Because I heard that you just need some heat. So I wasn't patient enough to wait for heat to generate naturally. So when I did that, when I was inside the kitchen boiling the goat poop, my mom came back where she went. She found me inside the kitchen. She asked me, what are you cooking? I was like, I'm cooking some potatoes. She's like, potato doesn't smell like this. It was smelling so badly. So that project was totally a failure. So when I went to Dartmouth, I was able to read more and understand more of how you're going to be able to generate a biogas. So when I went back home one summer, I was able to build a proper biogas digester, which is generating gas, but we still haven't connected to the kitchen to start using it. My hope is that if this project can be able to be scalable, then a lot of people in different parts of the country, they can be able to use it, and the processed manure, they can be able to use it for their garden and use as a fertilizer. That can be able to solve some also other problems that people are facing. So that was the time that I was at Dartmouth. Now I finished up with Dartmouth. I graduated so far. So when I look back from the time that I started my project up to this point where I am, I faced so many challenges that they could have simply stopped me from achieving my goals. But for me, one thing that I can let you know this evening is that everything that you do, you're going to face some challenges, but don't allow those challenges to stop you from achieving your goal or building up your dreams. Everything is possible. Take those challenges like they are there to strengthen you, to make you grow on whatever you are trying to do. Even some people that they are successful today, if you ask them, at some point they faced some challenges, but they didn't allow those challenges to take away their dreams. So thank you all. Thank you for having me here. It's a great honor for me to be here. Thank you.
And is really, really exciting. And I said, well, what's the company? I said, I think it's in your neck of the woods. It's in Ann Arbor. It's Dual Security. You can meet